Hi, I'm Cadet De Castro C. Today, I will discuss what I learned in Rule 1 to 3. Rule 1, which is application, Rule 2, which is responsibilities, and Rule 3, which is general definition. Let's start in Rule number 1. Rule number 1, application. Based what I learned in this rule application rule shall apply to all vessel upon the high seas and all water connected with their navigation by sea going. Ito pong rule na ito ay dapat naka-apply po sa lahat ng vessel na nasa dagat or connected sa tubig na kailangan mag-navigate by water. Ganun po. Rule number 2, responsibilities. Dito sa rule na ito, responsibilities are master ang nagko-commander ng isang merchant ship. The responsibilities ng master is navigation of vessel. Yan yung pinakaligtas at pinaka short route way na pwedeng daanan ng barko. Manage of a vessel. Ito pong pagmamanage ng vessel, like for example po, yung halimbawa po ang barko ay may biyahe na 2 weeks, kakalkulahin na po kaagad ni master yung makukonsumo nilang mga pagkain doon. Yun lang po yung andun naman po sa safe operation of a vessel. Yan yung pinakaligtas na pagpapatakbo ng isang vessel na kailangan umiwas sa mga mabababang lugar na pwedeng mabangkaruhe yung barko o pwedeng sumadsad sa mga coral reef. Yun lang po. And last rule, general definition. Rule number 3, general definition. What I learned in this rule is the purpose of this rule is nakalagay ay sa rule na ito yung mga vessel na pwedeng maglayag at mga hindi pwedeng maglayag. At yun yung mga safe at ang mga safeties ng isang vessel ay nakalagay po sa rule number 3 sa general definition. Nakalagay sa rule number 3 yung mga vessel na hindi pwedeng maglayag, like vessel not under command because of their restricted visibility. Dito po nakalagay yon, yung mga vessel na hindi pwedeng maglayag kasi po may technical problem po. Yun lang po. Maraming salamat. I hope you will learn. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Cadet Manalo from BSMT S1 Delta. Here's what I've learned in COLREG 4 to 6. Section 1, conduct of a vessel in any condition of visibility. Rule 4, application. This rule shall apply to all vessels upon the high seas and in all waters connected therewith navigable by sea-going vessel. Local regulation can be found in sailing direction, pilot books, guide to port entry, etc. Rules shall apply to all vessels upon the high seas in all water connected therewith and navigable by sea-going vessel. Ganito yung itsura ng libro sa COLREG sa mga rules. Yan, ganito po. All ships, big or small, are to follow the rules as given in COLREG. Small yachts, fishing vessel, and other barges, all as long as they sail on this. Lahat daw ng mga type ng boats or vessel na nasa dagat ay kailangan pag-araral yung Rule 1 to 41. Sabi nga sa Rule 4 application, lahat ng uri ng barko, sailing or power-driven man ito, ay sakop ito ng COLREG Rules 1 to 41. Kailangan mapag-aralan ito ng mga lahat na nagtatrabaho bilang seafarers. Kailangan yun. Kasi napakahalaga nito sa mundo ng mga seaman. Rule 5, lookout. Every vessel shall at all times maintain a proper lookout, o kailangan daw lagi may lookout, lalo na pagka gabi o may mga masasamang panahon, by sight and hearing as well as by all available means appropriate in the prevailing circumstances and condition so as to make a full appraisal of the situation and of the risk of collision. Ang bawat duluyan ay dapat mapanatili ang sitwasyon, pagtingin at paningin at sa paningin at pandinig pati na rin yung lahat na magagamit na paraan na maaangkop sa mga umiiral na pangyayari at kondisyon upang makagawa ng isang buong pagsusuri ng sitwasyon at ng peligro ng pagkakabangga. Similar to the situation where the fog is thick in the environment of the ship, even in your eyes and all of the crew of the ship. Never leave the bridge unless properly relieved. Huwag aalis ng bridge, lalo na pag pinaglulukot ka ng kapitan. Huwag na huwag aalis hanggat hindi sinasabi. Ang OOW ay maaaring tanging tao sa tulay na ibinigay na maaari siyang tumawag para sa agarang tulong. Ang isang opisyal ng gobyerta na nakatalaga sa mga tungkulin na ng pagpapanatili ng oras at pag-navigate sa tulay ng barko ay kailangan bilang opisyal sa bridge, OOW. Ganito yung itsura ng mga naglo-lookout sa bridge. At bawal din lagi tayo madidistract pag naglo-lookout tayo. Yan, ganyan sila pag nagaan sa bridge, pag naglo-lookout. Rule 6, safe speed. Yan, kailangan nito sa pag-maintain ng speed natin para ma-prevent ang collision. Ang bawat vessel ay dapat na magpatuloy sa lahat ng oras sa ligtas at mabilis upang makagawa sila ng maayos at mabisang aksyon upang maiwasan ang pagkakabangga at mapahinto sa loob ng distansya na naangkop sa mga umiiral na pangyayari at kondisyon. We also need to use navigational equipment before we can speed or slow down our vessel. We do not know that we have a ship in front, and then the speed of our ship will make it difficult for us to alter course. Yun, mahirapan tayong mag-alter ng course, lalo na pag malapit na talaga sa atin sa front natin ng vessel natin yung barkong kasalubong natin, lalo na pag hindi tinitingnan sa radar natin pag gabi or may masamang condition ng weather. It's make it difficult for us to alter course, and it's possible with a collision o rin yun, may collision yung mangyayari pag gano'n nangyari. Kung ano lang ang sinabi sa atin ng officer or ng captain na speed ng barko natin, ay yun lang ang susundin kasi sila lang nakakalam kung paano patakbuhin ang vessel natin sa tamang speed. Syempre, kailangan din naman nating malaman yun kung anong dapat na speed. May iba't ibang speed na kailangan ang bawat vessel. Hindi lahat magkakaparehas yan. Sailing vessel or power-driven vessel, hindi magkaparehas yan. Sa power-driven vessel, di ba ang inisip natin pag ganitong vessel ay mabilis? Hindi. May kanya-kanyang dapat na speed na ma-maintain depende sa kargada nito o sa structure ng vessel natin. Sa sailing vessel naman, ang wind o ang current, yung agos ng tubig sa dagat, ay maaaring kontrol natin ang direksyon na pupuntahan natin sa pamamagitan ng pag-alam kung saan ang dating ng hangin sa vessel natin. Ganito yung itsura ng power-driven vessel at sailing vessel. Yang power-driven vessel ay ginagamitan natin ng machinery para mapatakbo ng machine. Ang sailing vessel naman, ginagamit natin dito ang hangin upang mapaandar natin ito. At ito naman ang ginagamit para makontrol natin yung speed ng barko natin sa asternman o sa head, sa pag-urong ng barko, sa pagpapabagal o sa pagpapabilis. Ilang po sir, thank you po.
So, hello guys, I'm Kadit Makatangay Ivan Dexter, and I'm here today to discuss 3 rules, which is 7, risk of collision, Rule 8, action to avoid collision, and the last one, Rule 9, narrow channel. So, let's proceed to Rule 7. Rule 7, risk of collision. Every vessel shall all available means appropriate to the prevailing circumstances and conditions to determine if risk of collision exists. If there is any doubt, such risk shall be deemed to exist.
Ang risk of collision ay isa sa pinaka dapat iwasan upang ma-maintain natin ang kaligtasan sa karagatan. Ang safe speed ang pinakamabisang paraan upang makaiwas sa anumang disgrasya. So let's proceed to Rule 8, which is action to avoid collision. Any action to avoid collision shall be taken according with the rule or this part and shall, if the circumstances of the safe case admit, be positive, made in ample time and due regard to the observation of good seamanship. So, ang action to avoid collision ay isa sa mga pinakamahalagang rules dahil ang pagiging maingat at pag-iwas sa sakuna ang nagpapakita kung saan mahusay kang mandaragat. So, let's proceed to the last one, which is narrow channel. A vessel proceeding along the course of narrow channel or fairway shall keep as near to the outer limit of the channel of fairway which lies on her starboard side as is safe and practicable. Ang narrow channel ay isang daanan ng mga barko at kinakailangan ang mabuting pag-iingat at karanasan upang makapaglayag ng maayos at ligtas kung mapadaan ka dito sa narrow channel. So, that's it. That's all my insights and I hope you understand my presentation. Thank you.
Number 10. Traffic Separation Scheme. A vessel using a traffic separation scheme shall proceed in the appropriate traffic lane in the general direction of traffic flows for that lane. So, this is example of traffic separation scheme. Nakikita nyo, tuwid lang yung daan ng dalawang vessel at walang naganap na collision. Normally, join or leave a traffic separation scheme lane at the termination of the lane. But when joining or leaving from either shall do so at small angle to the general direction of traffic flow at practicable. A vessel shall, so far as practicable, avoid crossing traffic lanes, but is obliged to do so. Shall cross a heading as nearly as practicable at right angles to the general direction of traffic flow. Vessel of less than 20 meters in length, sailing vessel, and vessel engaged in fishing may use the inshore traffic zone. A vessel other than a crossing vessel or vessel joining or leaving a lane shall not normally enter a separation zone or cross separation line, except in case of emergency to avoid immediate danger to engage in fishing within a separation zone. A vessel shall, so far as practicable, avoid anchoring in a traffic separation scheme or in areas near its termination. A vessel engaged in fishing shall not impede the passage of any vessel following a traffic lane. A vessel of less than 20 meters in length or a sailing vessel shall not impede the safe passage of a power-driven vessel following a traffic lane. A vessel restricted in ability to maneuver when engaged in an operation for the maintenance of safety of navigation in a traffic separation scheme is exempted from complying with this rule to the extent necessary to carry out the operation. Rule number 11, Application. Section 2. Under Section 2, conduct of vessel in sight of one another. Always remember that the vessel deemed to be in sight of one another and only when can only visibility observe the other. Failure to sight due to poor lookout not excuse. Rule number 11 to 18 covered under this section. Give way vessel, stand on vessel, overtaking, head-on situation. Needs proper lookout to avoid failure. If you cannot visually sight a vessel, follow rule number 19, which is resistive visibility.
Everyone, for rule number 12, sailing vessels. When two sailing vessels are approaching one another so as to involve risk of collision, one of them shall keep out of the way of the other as follows. First one, when each has the wind on a different side, the vessel which has the wind on the port side shall keep out of the way of the other. For example, katulad nito, ito, ang taman ng hangin ay nasa different side ng dalawang barkong ito. For the sailing vessel A, ang tama ng wind dito ay nasa port side. And dito naman sa B ay nasa starboard side. Katulad nga sa sinabi sa rule, kung sino nasa port side, siya yung mag-keep out at ito naman ang stand-on vessel, kumbaga. Ganito ang mangyayari. Ito, diretso siya dito. Diretso lang siya. Tapos itong nasa port side, katulad na sinabi, siya ang dapat mag-a-alter siya ng course papunta sa starboard para maiwasan ang collision. Second one is when both have the wind on the same side, the vessel which is to windward shall keep out of the way of the vessel which is to leeward. For example number 2, this is the scenario. This is the windward and leeward. Like the rule said, the leeward is the stand-on vessel. That. And the windward shall keep the way of the leeward. Like this, pag nakalampas na siya doon, dito siya dadaan sa likod para maiwasan ang collision. For the third one, if a vessel with the wind on the port side sees a vessel to windward and cannot determine with certainty whether the other vessel has the wind on the port side or on the starboard side, she shall keep out of the way of the other. For example, this is the scenario in the third rule. Kapag ikaw yung nasa port side na barko at nakakita ka ng ganitong barko na hindi mo ma-determine kung saan yung tama ng hangin, ko sa port side or sa starboard side, ikaw yung magki-keep out way at siya magiging stand-on vessel. At ito ang kailangan mong gawin. Kailangan mong mag-alter agad ng course papunta sa starboard. And then, siya, habang malayo pa siya, kailangan mo nang alter ng course papunta sa starboard para maiwasan ang collision. Everyone, for Rule 13, overtaking. This is the example of the rule number 13 as I understand in the past discussion. This is the scenario. This is the range of the overtaking. Yan. Kapag once na lumampas na kayo dito sa guhit na to at hindi dito na kayo, yan. Hindi na siya overtaking. Katulad nito. Yan. Pag nandito pa siya, overtaking. Pero once na lumagpas na siya at pumunta na siya dito, crossing na siya. At kung gusto nyo pumunta, kunyari, nandito kayo sa side na to. Yan. Overtaking pa din kayo. At gusto nyo pumunta dito sa side na to, ang gagawin mo lang, dapat mag-alter ka na ng course papunta dito sa port side kung saan ka pupunta para maiwasan ang collision. Hindi yung dito ka pa pupunta tapos saka ka pa. Hindi na siya overtaking, crossing na siya. At kung ikaw naman tong vessel na to na may o-overtake sa'yo, ang kailangan mo lang, i-hold mo ang speed mo at saka ang course mo. Kapag nakalampas na sila, yun, pwede mo na ulit change or kung ano man. For rule number 14, head-on situation. When two power-driven vessels are meeting on reciprocal or nearly reciprocal courses, so as they involve of risk collision, each shall alter her course to starboard so that each shall pass on the port side of the other. For example, ikaw to at ito yung kasalubong mong barko. Ang kailangan mo lang gawin ay pumunta sa starboard, mag-alter ng course sa starboard. At yung kalaban mo din barko, mag-alter din siya ng course papunta sa starboard niya. Ang mangyayari, dapat ang side nyong dalawa ay port to port. At kung gabi naman, kailangan, kunyari ikaw to, tapos ito yung kalaban mong barko, dapat kita mo yung mast headlights niya. Kunyari ito, yan. Kita mo yan, tapos maybe kita mo din yung nasa gilid niyang ilaw. Ayan, yung red at green. Yung port niya is red and then yung starboard niya ay green. Ganun din yung sayo. Dapat kita niya yung mast headlights ng sayo at pwede din yung side light, yung starboard at port side na ilaw.
Rule number 15, crossing situation. The power driven vessel are crossing. The vessel which has the other on its starboard side shall keep out of the way and shall avoid the crossing ahead of the other vessel. Kapag nasa crossing situation, yun daw merong vessel sa starboard niya ang aalis sa pwesto, ang mag-give way at mag-alter course. Katulad na itong picture na nandito. Ito yung nagdidire-diretso kasi siya yung nasa starboard. Tapos ito naman vessel na ito, mag-give way. Dahil siya yung merong vessel sa starboard niya.
Number 16. Action by giveaway vessel. Every vessel which is directed to keep out of the way of another vessel so far as the possible take early and substance action to keep well clear. Kapag sa action giveaway vessel, yung vessel katulad nung sa rule number 15, yung magi-giveaway ng vessel ay yung may other vessel sa kanya starboard. Katulad nito yung nasa picture ulit. Ito. Siya yung magbibigay na way para makadiretso yung isa, para maklear yung dadaanan nila.
Rule 17. Action by stand-on vessel. Where one of two vessels is to keep out of the way, the other shall keep her course and speed. The latter vessel may however take action to avoid collision by her maneuver alone, and soon as it's become apparent to her that the vessel required to keep out of the way is not taking appropriate action in compliance with the rules. When from any cause, the vessel required to keep her course and speed find herself so close that collision cannot be avoided by the action of the giveaway vessel alone, she shall take such action as will best aid to avoid collision. Parehas kayong magte-take ng action para maiwasan yung to avoid collision. A power-driven vessel which take action in crossing situation in accordance which sub-paragraph of this rule to avoid collision with another power vessel shall, if the circumstance of the case admit, not alter course to port for a vessel on her own port side. This rule does not relieve the giveaway vessel of her obligation to keep out of the way. Bagay dun yung sa yung vessel papunta sa port ng kabila. Tapos yung isang vessel naman, papunta naman doon sa port mo. Katulad nitong video yung ipapakita ko. galing kay John Edward Umali. Ito. Kapag nagdire-diretso sila, may tendency magbanggaan sila. At pag itong isang ito ay nagpunta sa port, pwede pa rin magbanggaan. Kung silang dalawa magte-take ng action, pareha silang makakalusot. Ganon. To avoid collision. Rule 18. Responsibility between vessel. A vessel-driven vessel under shall keep out of the way of a vessel not under command, a vessel restricted in her ability to maneuver, a vessel engaged in fishing, a sailing vessel. This rule is except when Rule 9, 10, and 13 otherwise required. A vessel other than a vessel not under command or vessel restricted in her ability to maneuver shall in the circumstance of the case admit avoid impeding the safe passage of a vessel contained by her draft exhibiting the signal in Rule 28. A seaplane on the water shall in general keep well clear of a vessel and avoid impeding their navigation in circumstance. However, where risk of collision exists, he shall comply with the rule of this part. And remember that this rule applied only to vessels in sight of each other. Ordinary power-driven vessel that are underway must stay out of the way of the other type of vessel. Power-driven vessels that are not under that are anchored aground or made fast to the shore. Of course, do not have to keep out of the way of the vessel. Vessels that are anchored or aground must display the required light and shape for those situations. Kumbaga yung ordinary power-driven vessel ay yung aalis sa laging naka-stay out sa iba pang vessel, sa iba't ibang uri ng vessel. Pwedeng hindi ka na mag-stay out sa ibang vessel na naka-anchor or naka-aground na naka-display yung kanilang light. Yun, yung ipinapaano doon sa rule number 18. Rule 19, conduct of vessel in restricted visibility. In restricted visibility, doon mo masasabing hindi mo makikita yung kasalubong mo or yung kumagay harang ng bundok. Kumagay pag magkakabiglaan magkakabiglaang sabay sa paglabas sa tapos dito mo rin magagamit yung radar na tinatawag. Yung radar doon mo makikita yung mga malalapit na barko sa iyo. Tapos every vessel shall have due regard to the prevailing circumstance and condition of restricted visibility when complying with the rule of section 1 of part 2. A vessel which detect by radar alone the presence of another vessel shall determine if a close quarter situation. Yun nga, yung kumbagay pag malapit na kayo situation developing and a risk of collision exists. Yun nga. So she shall take avoid action in applied time provide that when such action consists of an alteration of course so far as possible that following shall be avoided. Katulad nito ipapakita kong video. Ito. Itong video ito galing kay John Edward Umali. Ito. Makikita nyo. Kumbaga dito may harang, hindi nyo kita yan. Ayan, pwede magkaroon ng ng aksidente kapag hindi nyo na yan, na-apply yung rule 19. Kita nyo. Kahit ganong kalaking barko, kahit ganong kaliit, basta pag gumamit ka ng radar, doon din lalabas yung yung magbabago ka ng speed. Yung magmamabagal ka para ma-avoid yung risk of collision.